and welcome to another episode of Honest AF Show with me, Daniela Clark.
And me, Barbaranne Weil.
Hello, Miss Barbaranne
Hello.
Weil. Welcome back.
I am very happy to be
you.
back. I missed you as well. Very much so. Actually, I talked to you a lot while I was gone, but I can't help that.
I know. Tell me everything.
Oh my God, it was so great. So I flew on a really late night flight, which I don't usually fly. So I got there late in the afternoon the next day.
And by the way, it's like it's so terrifying because the same thing happened to me that happened to you.
Yeah.
When I flew home from Miami.
Yeah.
There was an airplane accident. Yeah. And then the same thing with you when you flew out. And so it's like.
Same airline, and they were diverting a plane that was set for Italy to somewhere else. Or no,
scary.
It was set for, I don't know. And they diverted to Italy, and they had everyone get off the plane for a threat. And yeah, I had to have you and Randy talk me down.
Yeah.
I was about to jump off the plane and say, I'll go. I don't need to go tonight. But anyway, I got there the night before the last Pantera show of this tour for them. And they did a sold out show at Wembley Arena, which was fantastic. And
wow, how fun.
It was so good. I had only been to Wembley Arena one other time for Zakk to do an award show, and it was the first time going, and they remodeled it a little bit. So from what everyone was saying, the back is the front, the front is the back. But it was so cool to see a venue that's been around for a million years.
I know. I
everyone that's played there
since Guns.
Yeah.
When Gilby was in Guns and they played, I haven't been there since.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the sound was great and the band was great. But I got there the night before that show, and then Zakk and I just, we hadn't seen each other in 5 weeks. So
I know. So that must have been
I don't need to
give us the gory details.
I don't need to paint a picture for anybody. I think everybody got it.
Yeah.
But we had a really nice Hendrix couldn't get away from us fast enough because he's been there with Zakk.
Did you see that thing I sent you? That meme? Sorry.
Probably.
The meme I sent you about if you haven't had sex with the Scorpio, you're a virgin.
Yeah. I showed it to Zakk too, and he said pretty much.
Yeah.
But it was good. And we went out to dinner by ourselves Monday. It was a Monday night. Tuesday was the show with Pantera, which was just fantastic.
So this is the last of this leg of the tour?
It was the last of Pantera's European headline tour, and they hadn't been there in, I don't even know. I think the last time they played London was like 20-something years ago. So London proper, because they did Download last year.
Yeah.
But it was so great, and it was sold out.
Fun.
Really, really great show.
Watch from the side
and
of
Jason
the stage.
Momoa was there.
Oh no. Not
so
again.
it was, he was there, and he was like there for the whole night, and it was so much fun. And yeah.
Do you watch from the side of the stage, or do you watch from front of house?
I generally like to watch from front of house because Zakk always wants me to, tell him what the sound's like and everything.
Yeah. Well, our guys are always like, were the guitars loud enough?
Yeah. Well, or me, I'm usually like, the bass needs to be turned down. If the bass is louder than the guitars, it's a problem for me.
Yeah.
But in Pantera, it's really not my say. I don't really have any. I can't give my 2 cents in Pantera. Yeah. But in Zakk's multitude of bands, I definitely put my foot in there and, give my 2 cents and say to the soundboard, bass needs to come out of the mix entirely.
I do that too sometimes, and I'm like, oh, these sound guys are going to hate me.
They're terrified of me when they see me come into the board. They're like, oh, fuck, she's coming. But
you know what? It's kind of like our job because...
Absolutely.
Well, for you, definitely, because you manage Zakk. But always after a show, the first question Gilby always asks me is, how did the guitar sound?
Totally.
And I have to tell him. And if I say to him, well, they weren't loud enough, his next question is going to be, well, why didn't you tell the sound guy to turn it
or
up?
The sound guy gets ripped. So
exactly.
I definitely... this show, though, I watched from side stage because it was sold out. So to get to this soundboard would have been a project.
Yeah.
And also Jason Momoa was there. So
yeah.
Of course I wanted to be within 6 degrees of Jason Momoa.
Sure.
He had his whole little entourage, and he's so lovely, so much fun. Zakk loves him. We just had the best time.
Yeah.
And then that was it for
Pantera. He rides motorcycles with the guys and stuff.
Does he?
Yeah.
I mean, he plays guitar. He's like, he was telling Zakk that this current movie that he's working on for DC Comics he's filming in London.
Mm-hmm.
He said that they basically use Zakk as a point of reference for his character.
Oh,
so he's like,
awesome.
in the kilt and, the beard and the whole 9 yards. So
that's so
Zakk,
cool.
of course, was,
flattered.
You're getting close enough to Jason Momoa tonight. I was like, that works for me. Totally works for me.
Can I call you Jason?
But then that was the last for Pantera. They all flew home, and those poor guys, that was a really long, they were there for 6 solid weeks. And that was a long run, because usually Europe, it's like 4 weeks max. So it was a long one.
You usually don't go that long without seeing Zakk. So.
I haven't gone that long without seeing Zakk in decades.
Yeah.
It was long, but I was trying to sort it out, because what I had done was we had like 6 days off in London, and then Zakk had the first show of Zakk Sabbath's tour in Manchester. So I, of course, booked work for him those 6 days off. It wasn't really 6 days off. He did an amazing in-store in London to promote Wild Audio, which we really haven't brought Wild Audio over there, so it was great.
Oh, that's great.
Really great turnout. Actually, it was really funny, because they kept saying to me, there's a line around the building still. Will Zakk stay? And I'm like, Zakk won't leave until every single person is like, they had it booked for like 2 hours. And I think we were there for well over 2 hours, but it was great. And then the next day we had a bunch of press, and we stayed at this amazing hotel, which I sent you video again, of the Chateau Denmark. And it was so great, because I didn't really know when we had stayed there last summer. I had just found the Chateau Denmark by chance going through my hotels.com app. And it just looked like a really rad place for us. And it had 2-bedroom apartment for us to have the boys with us.
Yeah.
And then this time we booked it again, because Zakk's like, this needs to be our place, and I booked it again, but we ended up doing a little tour with the manager of the entire Chateau Denmark, and he talked to us and showed us all around and gave us the lowdown on all the history. And oh my God, so right on Denmark Street, which is where a lot of the guitar stores are, it's kind of like 49th Street used to be in New York City. And but Rolling Stones recorded their first album right across the street from the hotel from us. Downstairs there was a studio. Black Sabbath recorded their first album. Zakk did interviews in the Sex Pistols apartment, where they actually had an apartment on Denmark Street, and they preserved it, where they put like this plexiglass wall up over the block wall with all of their graffiti that they had done themselves on the wall and everything, and they preserved it like a museum.
How cool.
It was so incredible to learn all the history.
So cool.
It was just so fantastic. What a great part. And then Hypnosis, the offices of Hypnosis, which are infamous and did all of those incredible album covers and vinyl art and all the art for all the legendary 70s band, the Led Zeppelin album covers, the Rolling Stones album covers. I mean, that was literally above where we stayed, the room above our room. Because they converted all the apartments to a hotel. And then they have a proper hotel right across the way. But it was
cool
just
spot.
So incredible. And the restaurant that they put there, it's called Tattoo, overlooks the entire city. We ate, Zakk and I ate there one night. It was fantastic. It's a Chinese restaurant. I was thinking I've got to bring you when I go back, when we go back. It was just, everything about it was just spectacular. And then one day we took a day trip, was about an hour out of the city, to Anderton's music store, which is the largest retail mom and pop music store, instrument store in London, in England.
Yeah.
And so that was fantastic.
That's great.
And Zakk did it was a setup very similar to our little spot here at Licorice Pizza. I was showing you, they have like a full little soundstage where they do.
It looks like almost identical to those.
Totally, with the carpets and the lights and the whole bit. And they did a fantastic interview with Zakk. It was great. Everything about our trip was just fantastic.
Oh, I'm so glad. Now, is Zakk home with you? Did he come back with you?
No, poor Zakk. I gave him that 6 days off, but then he started Zakk Sabbath. So now he's doing his Zakk Sabbath run. They were there once before in Europe in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Right.
And then we haven't been there at all since. That was their first little, putting their toe in the water in Europe. And so now they're doing 3 weeks and almost every show is sold out or close to sold out. Tonight they're playing in Glasgow. They did a sold out show in Birmingham last night. So they got a little taste of Sava's hometown and they're just having a blast. So he won't be home. Well, he'll be back stateside at the end of March, but then he starts right up with Experience Hendrix.
Yeah.
So I'm going to meet him in Boston.
You got that man working his booty off.
He wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
So it was just spectacular. I didn't get to do as much shopping as I did with you, but I did manage to get some in.
We did some good shopping when we were there.
I got some in this time. Zakk loves to shop.
Yeah.
He even got a chance to make an in-studio visit to Kilts for All, who custom does all his kilts.
All his kilts, yeah.
And,
that's
$4,000 later.
Oh, my God.
We added to his kilt collection, but they're incredible.
That's so cool.
Beautiful. Yeah,
How
he gets,
fun.
it's fully, couture.
You should get yourself a kilt.
He gets to go through all these incredible books of the tartan and all of the wool and the different weights. And he loves it. And,
I bet. I would love it. That sounds amazing. That sounds like something I would want to do.
Actually, you would love it, especially because in their books, they do all Adam Ants kilts.
Oh, wow.
So there's lots of photos of him.
Wow.
And, yeah, it's pretty
Very cool.
A lot of rock and roll lore was to be had on this trip.
How fun.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun. It's like when Frankie went to, when our daughter Frankie went to London.
And she
got to go around.
Yeah.
And Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols took her around.
Yeah. And she got a little history.
So did Jenny. Got like a little history lesson there of all the punk rock little hangs and stuff. It's so cool.
It's so cool. Like when he did the interview he did an interview for Guitar World and Metal Hammer in the Sex Pistols apartment, just being there. It's just like, you just get Zakk was just like, check this out. Like, this is incredible to think they were here.
Yeah.
This is where they recorded right down the road. And what's really cool about the Chateau Denmark too, is underground from the hotel, there's a 2,000 seat venue.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
And we didn't get to go into it, but there was a gig going on. And you don't hear it in the apartments, but it was like lines around the building.
You don't hear it in the apartments because back in those days, they would build things, properly.
Amazing. And it's all like cinder blocks.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It's heavily insulated.
Yeah.
And the Chateau Denmark properties, they did an astounding job. The decor is out of this world.
Ooh,
our suite, our apartment, the floor was leather. I've never seen a leather floor.
Really?
It was so fantastic. And heated, by the way. And I said to
I'd be afraid to walk around in my heels.
I know. Well, I said to the manager, I go, how does it wear?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking Zakk's boots, my heels. And he said, surprisingly, amazing. There's just one piece of, they have this beautiful leather daybed, but it's on casters. And he said sometimes the casters will tear it up just a bit, but it just kind of makes it look even sexier. So, had this,
sounds amazing.
Foot clawed, gorgeous tub on this leather floor that was just magic. It was just, I couldn't get in that tub fast enough.
I bet you were in it.
Every night.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't wait to get in this tub.
How fun. Well, I didn't have as fun as a week as you did. Let me think about what we did. Well, Gilby played. He played at the Whiskey
that's right.
one night, which was fun. And that was a really good time. And the kids came out for that. And it was a really good show. And then he left. He had a couple other shows to do. So I was just kind of hanging out at home. I don't even know what I was doing. And then we had just a horrible, tragic death in our rock and roll motorcycle family. Our really dear friends, Tammy Down from Faster Pussycat, lost his beautiful, beautiful fiance, Kimberly.
So sorry to hear.
So tragically. Terrible. And it just absolutely devastated all of us and broke our hearts. It's just, we've just been reeling from that. Yeah. And that's just, I haven't slept in 3 nights. I can't imagine. Sleep. I just keep thinking about her and thinking about our last conversation. And I'm just so devastated.
It's awful. I mean, and to think,
awful.
For people that don't know, just a tragedy on a cruise. Just awful.
It's just, everything about it is just so tragic. And she was such a lovely, lovely person. And it just,
they were together a long time too,
right? Long time. They loved each other so much. And I mean, every motorcycle trip we took, every camping trip, I always hung out with Kimberly. We had so much fun together. She was really funny and cool. And
so sorry.
We used to just have such a good time. And, she'd come to all the shows and, we'd see her out at the shows and things like that. And just, I mean, it's just so, I just haven't, I don't know. It's just it's so tragic. And, death is so final.
It is.
It's just to think that I'll never see her again or hear her voice again or hear her laugh again. It's shocking. I haven't really processed it. I don't know where to put it in my head.
I can't even imagine. And I can't even imagine how he's dealing with it.
I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard too because, media picks it up and runs with it and people forget that there are real human beings here. And,
absolutely.
And people that really, mattered and were loved. And it's awful. But that's definitely been a real struggle in our house. We've all struggled with it. Gilby, Frankie, all of us. It's just, we're sad for everyone involved, and it just breaks our heart. But on a lighter note, Frankie's playing tonight.
Oh, that's right.
She's playing at the Roxy tonight. So I'm excited for that.
I'm going to try to make it. I've been going to bed at like 8:00 since I've been home.
Well, did you have jet lag when you were in England?
So crazy. So I never get jet lag.
Because remember how bad I was?
Okay,
I was so bad.
I was like you on this trip.
Really?
Because
you couldn't sleep at all?
I had an appointment. I was the other way. I couldn't wake up. I was like, at 6:00, I'd be like, I have to go nap, and I never nap. And Zakk's like, oh man, you just got to go with it. Don't fight it. You know? I had an appointment. What's really been working for me the last couple of years is getting those vitamin infusion IVs. And it gives me the energy when I get over there, and I settle in. I do another one as soon as I get home. This trip, I had to cancel my appointment the day before because I had some things going on with Sabbath, and I didn't have my IV. And boy, I will not do that again because I was so hit. I mean, even the show, everyone at Pantera, like Philip and Charlie, were like, "What are you hiding out on us? We're used to you
like
being around
in the corner."
I went back out on the tour bus with Zakk, and Zakk put the space heater on me because I was freezing cold.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I just was like, "Wake me up when it's showtime."
Yeah.
But then Jason Momoa was there, so I perked right up. But I felt like I mean, Jason Momoa is like my hall pass. He's in my top 5. 5. I love that man. And
you're like, Zakk, I haven't seen you in 5 weeks, but I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Taking that hall pass.
Zakk's like saying to him, hey, dude, you're doing half the work for me here. Stick around. But just the visual. He was so much fun too, because he was like in the pit the whole time with his phone, jumping, and just like they ran up on stage and did walk, and he's just like this burst of, I mean, it's no surprise to me that he's a Leo. Zakk and even Zakk, I said, Zakk, just take a guess, like a little guess of what his sign is. He's like, he's got to be a Leo. I was like, I've got you trained well.
Look like Leos, I think. Like they always have the hair, they have that presence. Yes. They just look like Leos.
Yes. And I mean, if they're well aspected and if they get attention, they are just this ball of sunshine.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, I know that.
He is sunshine.
Yeah.
Personified. Zakk is a Leo rising, so he's very Leo as well.
Gilby is the definition of a Leo.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that, but anyway, I was just getting hit with this wave. As soon as I got home,
it's the worst.
The next morning, I went and got an IV, and I've been better on this side.
We need to find a cure for that. It is horrible. I've never had such horrible jet lag as I did when we were in London. I remember I kept saying to you, Barb, I got to lay down for 20 minutes. I need like a disco nap.
I think it has a lot to do. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the
that direction.
For me, it's usually when I come home, but since I've been doing the IVs, I haven't really had an issue. Like when we went, I didn't have any issue.
You were fine. I was terrible.
I did the IV the day before, and I really was mad at myself that I didn't do it. I should have just said, I'm got to make this appointment.
Now, did you sleep on the plane?
I did. Oh my God. So I ate a little something, which I don't generally do on planes, but I ate a little something, went to sleep, and I woke up with 1 hour left to land.
Oh, that's a bliss.
But it didn't matter. I was still out of my mind.
Still out of it, yeah.
So out of it.
It's only happened to me twice. It happened to me when I went to Japan.
That I find is the worst jet lag of
terrible
anywhere I've been
to. Terrible. I was like staggering into the hotel, and all I wanted to do, we walked into this gorgeous hotel room, and I just passed out on the bed. I couldn't move. And Gilby said to me, you got to get up. You're not going to be able to sleep tonight. And I go, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Sometimes
it was like I
you
couldn't
hit
do
that
anything
wall.
about it.
I know. Zakk and I think Japan is the worst of all.
Yeah. Japan and England were both very difficult for me. But that was the first time that's happened to me in England. Usually I'm fine.
It never happened to me before this time either.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And I'm feeling it still not as bad. I had the IV, but I'm able to make it. But I've been going to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Last night I stayed up till 9:30 because I've been catching up on all my Bravo shows, which, I mean, I missed a lot of Bravo shows when I was there. Oh my God. And there was a Bravo sighting the first night I got there, which Charlie Benante from Anthrax and Pantera. He loves the Bravo shows as well. We have a Real Housewives thing going on.
Yeah.
He had a sighting in our hotel restaurant. I was sleeping through it. Luann.
Oh, no way. The Countess.
The Countess was there. And I missed her. He's like, she is so tall, Barbaranne. I can't believe you missed her. I'm like, how? That is just.
How did you miss her? That is
my
so
jet lag.
funny.
I missed the Countess. I
Oh
missed
my
her
God.
in all of her glory.
Hilarious.
I know.
She's not on the show anymore. They completely recast it.
Yeah, I actually like the new cast in New York, but oh my God.
I think it's fun.
This past season was so deliriously horrific. That I think they're going to recast it again.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But just like the things that transpired and the fighting and oh my God.
Oh my.
It was really bad. Speaking of shows, should we do a Flicks AF?
Oh my God. I think I can contribute, but yes. Do it. You go. It's your deal.
Okay, well, Flicks AF, you can contribute. Flicks AF, you did contribute because you had arranged for all of us to go to a movie night to go see the new Led Zeppelin movie called
Becoming
Led Zeppelin. Yes.
Which is a very, very appropriate title. Mind you, I tried to get to go in London with Zakk. The whole time we were there, we could not find that movie there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it? It's like a limited release, I think.
Only in IMAX. The IMAX release is for the first week.
Yeah.
And then it goes to nationwide. But the IMAX theaters in London, it was only showing once a day, and we just couldn't make
and Zakk hasn't seen it yet.
No, but I'm sure they'll all go.
Yeah.
it was Zakk wanted to go.
Yeah,
And,
of course. I know what a fan he is.
So
But
what did you
so
think?
you arranged this movie night for all of us, and I liked it, but I have a but. I liked it because I thought it was really interesting. I loved all the I loved all the footage, and I loved some of the
Yeah.
stories, and and I like seeing how things start. So I enjoyed it. But I think if you're not a huge it's very technical too, and it's very musical.
Yeah.
So, like, musical in the sense of, like, it's technical music. It's how,
I mean,
how they
Jimmy
played certain
Page and John Paul
parts and
Jones really break down how they became Led Zeppelin.
Right.
So
So it is very technical, and
yeah,
in a sense, I felt like it was a little dry,
I
and
could see where you would say that.
so, like, there's not much of, like, a buildup of a story, and then they play this big show. You know how you normally you see biopics, you expect them to go a certain way. It's not like that. It's almost like just a dry kind of documentary, really. Um, so if you're not a musician, or you're not really into music in that way,
Right.
I could see where it could be a little dry for you.
Right.
I enjoyed it. Frankie enjoyed it.
I loved every
You
minute of
enjoyed
it.
it, but we get that, I think, like, Colleen, she was fighting to stay awake.
Oh, interesting.
So, and a couple of the girls afterwards were like, "Oh, I was a little, it was a little, like, dull for me." And
Right.
that's because if you're not, like, interested in the way the music was written and how it all came about, it might be a little dry.
Well, it was definitely not sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
No,
which people
exactly,
are expecting that
exactly.
from Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin. But what I loved everything about it. But one
yeah.
of the things that I loved so much is that Zakk is a Led Zeppelin freak.
Yeah, he's a fanatic.
He knows
Yeah.
everything. He
Yeah,
could write a book
yeah,
about Led Zeppelin.
yeah.
And he is so enthralled with Jimmy Page, not as a guitarist, although he is, but as a producer,
Mhm.
as a songwriter,
Yeah.
as an
Absolutely brilliant.
engineer.
Yeah,
So Zakk is going to lose his mind over that. And
yeah. And
what
he was so innovative and so ahead of his time, it's
and
just so
it was so
interesting.
fascinating because he has a memory like nobody's business,
Yeah,
and he knows everything from the dates to the whole bit.
yeah,
One of the things that I loved so much is that for a couple years before this came together, they put out to all of their fans and their diehards that any bootleg footage that you have, please submit it for this
yeah,
documentary we're doing. And to witness some of this footage for the first time, which I thought was a brilliant thing for the director
yeah,
to do. It was so clearly not, they had never seen some of it before, that they found footage of their actual first live performance together for that little
right,
radio show
right, right.
on
That
that
was really
teeny
cool.
tiny
Yeah,
stage. And when they heard, I don't want to give everything away, but there's parts of it that are so bittersweet, and Robert is clearly choking up.
yeah,
I thought that was
yeah,
magic.
yeah.
I
And what
loved it.
about the never before heard, interview
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, John
with John
Bonham.
Bonham? Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah,
incredible,
yeah.
and to see,
Because he rarely gave interviews, and they somehow had a few,
I mean,
so
it
it was
was
really cool.
incredible how they were
Yeah,
able to do that. So
yeah.
I thought for all those reasons, I didn't want it to end. I loved how it started on
Zack's gonna absolutely love it.
Zak's gonna
And
flip.
Gilby's gonna love it too. I told Gilby when I came home, I'm like, "You will love it.
Yeah,
It's very technical. You're
it's
gonna love it as a guitar
a
player, as a
singer,
music lover."
songwriter,
Yeah, yeah.
Zakk
Producer, everything.
always in the studio when
Yeah,
when he produces his records. He hasn't worked with a producer except for when record labels have forced him to, or when he's worked with Ozzy. But when he does his own thing, he self-produces,
yeah,
and he has always been so fascinated by Jimmy Page because he's like, what he thinks is so incredibly admirable is that Jimmy isn't so interested in hearing the guitar everywhere.
mhm.
Jimmy was really interested in making the drums the focal point, and everybody else had their space, and he even talks about that in the film, and it's just amazing. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
I was hoping that we were going to talk. I was thinking that we were going to talk on this Flix AF about the Academy Awards. And I actually saw the movie on the plane that won everything.
Oh, you did? Anara? I haven't seen it.
Oh my God. It is literally, I'm not giving anything away then if you haven't seen it, because you need to watch it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
It is like the modern horror book come to life.
Really?
It is fantastic.
Oh, I gotta see it.
And the actress in it, her name is Michaela. They call her Mikey.
Yeah.
She is 25 years old.
Yeah, they swept.
Born and raised here in Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
She is phenomenal. It was on the plane coming home, and thank God I was sat next to another woman of our stature, because it is sex 24/7.
Oh, I'll be watching that tonight. Thank you.
I'm shocked that it won all the Academy Awards, but she absolutely.
I thought of you during the Academy Awards when it swept, because I was like, oh, Barb's going to be so happy that
I didn't know what the movie was about.
That Substance didn't win.
No, I wanted Demi Moore to win because I feel like this is,
I did too. It's like
a once in a lifetime role for her.
Yeah.
And I thought she was fantastic in the film.
In it. Yeah.
But this movie, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you see it. I'm shocked you haven't.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the fashion?
I hated it.
I did too.
I hated all of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
I wasn't shocked or wowed by anyone.
Nothing was so boring. It was
very boring.
It was just a
I feel like
fest.
the Parisian fashion shows are boring this year.
Yeah, it was. The Academy Awards fashions was a complete snore fest.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what was interesting. The Vanity Fair party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Zoe Kravitz's dress?
Oh, I loved it.
It was Saint Laurent, and it was custom Saint Laurent, I think.
Yes,
and
it was.
The entire backside of it was cut out, so her entire booty was sticking out.
I couldn't take it. It was so gorgeous. I love her. Yeah. Everything she does, she can do no wrong. And the fact that she's, modeling for YSL, and I mean, she's their spokesperson, and now her father. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the new ads with Lenny Kravitz?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're all over London. Yeah. So it was just fantastic.
Yeah.
But she looked, because it was so demure from the front and just sexy Elvira, black sheath, long sleeve, gorge.
And then she turns around and it's like,
I mean,
whoa.
Holy cow. And I thought that,
you know what's interesting about that, though?
Kylie Jenner.
Here's my thought about that.
Go ahead.
So what I thought was interesting, that it depends on the person, because had let's say I don't know, what's her name? Julia Fox.
I knew you were going to say that.
Or
it would be conservative for her.
if she wore that, they would be like, that's so tacky, this, that, and the other. But because it was Zoe Kravitz, and she's so elegant, and the way she carries herself, that when she turned around, it was fashion. It wasn't tacky.
Yes. Agreed.
So it's
actually for Julia Fox, it would be fashion, because it'd be a step up from her oven mitts and her.
I don't know. I like all that. I think it's funny.
I thought her makeup was stunning. Julia Fox's makeup.
I like individuality. I like it when people go in and just do what they want to do.
I'm so sick of her taping hair to places that we don't need to see.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Somehow I find it more interesting than dull. So I'd rather see
Kanye
that
has
all
a
day
type,
long.
doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He sure does. He sure does. But
I thought Kylie Jenner's Vanity Fair.
I was trying not to say his name.
Yeah, agreed. I thought Kylie Jenner's Vanity Fair dress that was vintage Mugler was incredible.
I liked Lily Rose Depp's outfit. She had like this really low slug.
I thought she looked like she was going to do the hula.
Well, I kind of like that. Yeah. She's young. I like it when it's like, you're young and you're taking risks and you're doing like fun things, because it's all, sometimes I feel like when the talent is young and they're dressing too old, I'm like, no, be young.
That's true.
Take a risk, take a chance.
I think everyone was trying so hard to be naked and outdo each other. It was kind of like,
Yeah,
It just
great. I love it.
it didn't. I thought Zoe Kravitz knocked it out of the park, but
Yeah.
everyone else I thought was like, that's boring. You're just trying to be,
Well,
risque
you know
or
who was really, who was it?
if you're fully dressed these days,
What
you're
is her? Olivia Wilde showed up in what looked like a negligee. Did you see that?
Chloe. Yes, it was Chloe.
It was
Literally a negligee.
a negligee.
Yeah.
Just completely
Pinwar
see-through.
set.
I was like, okay.
She's hotter than hell, but
Yeah.
it was not her finest hour, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, but I thought, but how much more entertaining was the Vanity Fair
Oh,
party fashion
absolutely.
than the Academy Awards? It
Agreed.
was a storefront. I can't tell you what anybody wore at the Academy Awards. It was
Agreed.
terrible.
Agreed.
I was like, what is happening here? Is this like, it was so matronly. Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't like, Kim Kardashian's, Balenciaga. I thought she looked like she was wearing a roll of toilet paper, or like when they
Yeah.
put that toilet paper with the head on it, the Barbie head.
Yeah.
She looked like that.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Barbie head with that toilet
Yeah.
paper dolly that they do. Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Is it time for Barb's bag of tricks?
Yeah, so I don't physically have the my item right now,
Yes.
but I want to talk about. So when I was at the Bowtree Hotel in London, this hotel was, super swanky, and it had both Dyson supersonic hair dryer and the air wrap for you to use as a patron of the hotel.
Fancy.
And I have been digging my heels in the sand to spend $500, $600, $700 on these items forever. And I now know why
they charge
everyone
so
has
much?
to have that hair dryer. I used it. I bought it, of course. I used it today for
Of
the
course you
first
did.
time, without putting a brush through my hair, just rough drying. This thing, my hair is smooth. It's soft. I can't tell you, it is worth every penny. This
Really?
thing is fantastic.
And you didn't have to use a brush?
Nothing.
You just really?
Just rough dried my hair with this
Wow.
magic. It is magic. And the machinery, the motor is in the handle. So it's so lightweight, whereas most blow dryers, the machinery is in that corner
in the head,
when it
yeah.
has the perpendicular shape, and the engine is right here, so it's like bulky and weird.
Yeah.
This one, the engine is in the arm. So the handle. So when you're using it, it's so lightweight.
Oh,
It is
nice.
so directional. It comes with umpteen attachments, and they're magnetic. So it's no trying to, it just like
it just
hooks in with
yeah.
it is, and it sensors the level of dryness or of your hair. So it'll decrease the heat. So it's very gentle on your hair. Unbelievable. I am sorry,
Wow.
everybody, because it's a very expensive item, but it is
How much
worth.
was this situation?
Well, I got it on sale. It was the limited edition rose gold one. I got it for sale for $3.99, and I ordered
On
it
sale. So what is it normally?
like $600.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the air wrap is $600, on sale for $5.99. I did see it on sale a couple
Is
of
the
times.
air wrap also?
The air wrap is interesting. The air wrap is a dryer, a drying brush, like it has a round brush, dry brush attachment, and then it has two different curling attachments that you literally put it on, and you just
wow,
hold.
the hotel went all out. They provided both.
I've never seen it before in my life, but
Unreal.
I tried and used it. Oh, and I actually, back up a minute, went to high tea as well when I was in.
Oh, I saw that, and I
London.
was extremely
Oh my God,
jealous.
it was an
I had
art.
severe FOMO. I think I even sent that to you.
Yes, it was an art installation, high tea, and they choose an artist, and all the pastries are in shapes of something to
it's
coordinate with
gorgeous.
the art. It was off the charts, incredible. I can't wait to go back and take you.
Yeah.
The hotel was amazing, everything about it. Anyway,
You had a great
I
time.
digress, but the blow dryer and the air wrap. The air wrap is so cool. You just hold out a little piece of your hair with the thing, and it wraps around, and it makes
I
these
can't even
perfect.
imagine what that would do to me.
It doesn't snarl.
It sounds like
because it has
catastrophic.
it has no teeth.
Oh.
And it's just incredible.
Do you know
Amazing.
that I haven't used a hair dryer? I don't even know
Well,
in how many years.
Your hair is incredible.
It just dries wet like this. I never
I need
ever
to
use it.
highlight you up a little because it's getting to be that time of
It's
year.
too brown, I know.
No, I'm seeing the highlights, but we need to raise them up a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
It looks incredible.
I need you. I need
Gorgeous.
my highlights. But
Yes.
yeah, it's so my hair is so curly. I don't
The
really
longer
bother
it
with it.
gets, the easier it is to maintain, right?
Yeah.
Because the weight
Yeah.
just kind of does its thing. But
Yeah.
I can't say enough incredible things about this Dyson.
I like your hair when we were in
when I let it dry by itself.
Yes, when we were in Oregon,
crazy,
I loved it like that.
Crazy. What Zakk calls that wedding hair? Because when I think I said that before.
So sexy and soft and pretty. I love it like that.
Craziness. When we got married in Bora Bora, the humidity, there was nothing I could do, and I didn't travel with glam. 32 years ago,
none of us did.
I was my own glam human, which I actually am all the time anyway now.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even fight it. I was just like, and we didn't even use oils back then. I think I took a little bit of conditioner and just like tried to tame it. But Zakk will always be like, "Oh, you have wedding hair," because my hair was out of control.
Yeah. I used to use back then. I always used conditioner also.
Yeah, that's all we had, our options.
Yeah.
There weren't like oils or dry
and
shampoos.
The guys used to wear like Gilby used to, because Gilby back in like the 80s, he had really
that killer rock and
big
roll
hair.
Yeah, so did I.
He would take
Zakk.
ivory soap.
That's right.
Ivory soap on dry hair. He would
blow
dry his hair.
Or ivory soap.
And he would put ivory soap, he would like lather it up, put it in his hair, and then blow dry it, and it would just stick straight up.
Totally.
But the worst part was he would play gigs, and after the gigs, he'd be like, "Oh, my freaking eyes are burning. And it was because he was sweating and the soap was running into his eyes.
It melts and it's like bubbles.
Yeah. Oh my God, those days were hilarious between the Aquanet and the ivory soap.
It was hysterical too because everyone was so flammable.
Yeah.
The Aquanet was like you're walking around with half a bottle of hairspray on your head. And everyone smoked then. It was like you're very, very tragic.
I don't know
almost
how
tragic experience.
I never did any of that. I just always had my hair
said
like
that
the way
to you
it is.
when we first started hanging out, and I saw pictures of you from when we were, I'm a little older than you, but when we were like running the same circles, and I'm like, how did you escape the hair?
Yeah,
I don't know how you escaped. Probably because you were modeling and they didn't go for that. Thank God.
No, I wasn't allowed to do anything to my hair.
Although there were a lot of editorial with that hair.
Yeah, but you weren't allowed to do anything to your hair. The agency made you sign a contract.
No makeup, no hair.
You weren't allowed to change your hair unless you talked to your agent first. So you weren't allowed to color your hair, cut your hair, do anything
as it should be
strange, unless you ran it past your agency first,
right?
And they had to agree upon it. So it was like kind of one of those
things. Well,
you
have to be a blank canvas.
Yeah,
so I get that.
You do, and so my hair was always just normal, just kind of straight. But believe me, I had my hair moments when I was young.
Didn't you have did like a punk rock?
When I was really young, like when I very first met Gilby,
we need to see,
I had my sides
honestly,
shaved.
needs to see some of these photos.
No one needs to see any of these photos. I think I'll spare everybody the agony of seeing these photos. But yeah, so thank God that's over with. All my experimentations. I went to. When I was a kid, when I was living in South Africa, I went to an all-girls private Catholic school because even though I'm Jewish...
The joke was on them.
Yeah, in more ways than one. But because I'm Jewish, there was only one Jewish school in our area where we lived in South Africa. I lived in a small town called Port Elizabeth, and we only had one Jewish school, and it was full. So I had to go to an all-girls Catholic school. And it was, run by nuns.
Very strict.
Very, very strict.
Yeah.
And we had uniform. And I loved it because I was exempt from religious instruction, which was the first hour of every morning.
Wow.
Because, I didn't have to go to that. So I would sit on the PE field and listen to Prince,
Oh,
who was banned in South Africa at that time.
right.
So
Right.
I used to get my contraband tapes from this little British record store down the street from our house, and the
How cool.
kid that worked there would slip me these tapes, and I had the black
Oh, yeah, because
album.
would you have a Walkman?
Yeah, I had a Walkman.
That's funny. Yeah.
And I would sit on the PE field and listen to Prince for an hour while everybody else was in religious instruction. But it was very, very strict. We had to wear uniform, and we even had to wear these bloomers underneath our skirts in case our skirt blew up in the wind.
Wow.
You shouldn't show your underwear.
Right.
And I was always getting uniform violations, always, because you had to, when we walked into school in the morning, we had to kneel and our skirts had to touch the ground. We'd have uniform inspection.
Wow.
Our skirts had to touch the ground. Our little bobby socks had to be covering our ankles. And mine were always rolled past my ankle.
And your skirt was rolled up.
My skirt was rolled up.
Of course it was.
And I had every uniform violation known to man. And I was always getting in trouble. We weren't allowed anything but a watch and stud earrings.
Oh.
Nothing else. No makeup whatsoever. And our hair had to be,
straight and
normal.
A ponytail, maybe.
Couldn't be anything crazy.
Right.
And at that time, I was doing like a little bit of, started to get into modeling a little bit in South Africa. And I modeled for Vidal Sassoon. They did some show, and they asked me if they could cut all my hair off and color it bright red. And I was like, sure. And so they cut off all my hair and they made it bright red. And
Did your mother lose her mind?
I went home.
Oh my God.
I went home from the show.
I could hear your mother now.
I loved it. I thought it was so great. It looked so great.
Sure,
I was
probably
so
cool.
into it. And it was right during the Eurythmics.
Oh, yeah.
And Annie Lennox.
Yeah.
And that whole thing. So I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I went home from the show.
Oh God.
And I knock on the door. My mom opens the door, takes one look at me, and slams the door shut in my face.
That's hysterical.
And then she was so mad at me. And then I went to school like that. And I was in school. The minute I got into school, past uniform inspection, I was sent straight into the headmistress's office.
Oh.
And she was not having
my hair. Did they
make
you change your hair?
Yeah, they said dye it back to a normal color.
Wow.
You cannot come in here with this kind of color.
Wow.
It was like fire engine red.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, that's the thing though. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the result of private Catholic school.
My mother went to Catholic school and had 7 kids.
Yeah, there you go. It doesn't work.
She said
that was the complete opposite.
Her, backlash to
yeah, it was hilarious. But oh my God, I had so much fun in that school. We used to the whole point of it was rebelling. So
absolutely, 100%.
It was a lot of fun. Anyways, well, I'm gonna run off now and get myself together. I have to work today, and then I'm gonna go see
big
Frankie
announcement.
play.
You have a new
I'm not gonna announce it yet.
New gig.
New gig, yeah. I'll talk about it soon. And Frankie's playing tonight with Kelsey Carter, who's also part of the Licorice Pizza family. So that's going to be fun.
I'm going to try really hard to make it if I could.
I'm so excited.
I'll
can't
see
wait.
if I could stay awake past 8 o'clock.
It's so fun to see these young, talented women.
Yes.
Command the stage and do their thing. Yeah. Both of them so incredible. Between Frankie and Kelsey, I'm super excited. And we've got a bunch of friends coming tonight, so it's going to be a great night, and we all need it after this week. We need it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it. Anyway, so yes, let us know what you think, guys. Check us out on our Instagram and all our socials, Honest AF Show, all the way across the board. HonestAFShow.com is our website.
Yeah.
Until next time, you all keep well. Take care of yourselves.
Everybody.
Bye. We obviously need to do a disclaimer here, so we want you to know we are not doctors or experts by any stretch of the imagination. We are just a couple of gals that are looking for magical products, procedures, and experiences. And in our quest, we will share our honest as fuck opinions with you. So please make sure before you try anything we talk about that you know your own restrictions and do so at your own risk. Do not blame us for any of your issues. We're just experimenting too.